Wolves versus Nottingham Forest, 6th of January, Monday night football. But I'm going to concentrate in this match preview on Morgan Gibbs-White mainly. I'll do a little bit of a deep dive back and why it's got a bit hostile between the Wolves fans and Morgan Gibbs-White, but also it's made the Wolves v Forest game a bit tasty these days as well. So yeah, Morgan Gibbs-White, he grew up in Stafford, so he's a local Wolves lad. He come through the Wolves Academy playing in every year group up until he made his debut in January 2017 away at Stoke in the FA Cup. I actually went to that game. I remember him coming on. I remember the buzz around him coming on. Everyone very excited that a local lad was coming through. There was a lot of hype about him. Everyone knew he had a lot of talent. He actually won the under-17s World Cup with England as well. So big reputation. And as I say, there was a lot of expectation of him becoming a great player. Because obviously at the time we was in the Championship and we wasn't at the dizzy heights we ended up getting to. But he stayed in and around the team. Then when Nuno come in, he was always on like the cusp of the starting 11, but he couldn't just quite break into that Wolves team because look, we got 2 back-to-back sevenths. We were doing really well. We had some unbelievably talented players in his sort of positions, like attacking midfield on the wings. It was at the time when we had the likes of Jota, Jimenez and Traore, people like that were in and around the squad. Ivan Cavallero, Helder Costa. So it was a hard time for him to actually break into the Wolves team. But he always kept plugging away. His attitude seemed good at the time. And then he went out on loan to Swansea for a season. And then he went out on loan to Sheffield United. And around those periods, look, I'd hate to bring up people's personal lives, but it's relevant to the story of why the relationship broke down between him and the Wolves fans. His girlfriend, Brittany, who is from South Africa originally, so she probably don't really get the tribal nature of football in England. She would just tweet out stuff about the Swansea and Sheffield United fans really appreciating Morgan Gibbs-White and saying, you know, he should be playing at Wolves. And that got the Wolves fans' tails up online, specifically social media and Twitter. And that started to create a bit of a tension between the Wolves fans and Gibbs-White, purely because of naive tweets from his girlfriend, which, look, they were in their early 20s at the time, and I get that people make mistakes at that time, and you can't hold that against them because they're still together to this day, and I don't think she does it these days. I think she's learned not to and realised that football fans are very touchy and protective over their club if you say anything negative. So yeah, he had 2 good loan spells, come back to Wolves, and at this point, towards the end, he was like getting into the team. Bruno Lage actually in his very last Wolves game away at Leeds started him as one of the front 3, and Wolves fans were like, yeah, let's build our team around this lad. He's a local lad, you know, he's one of our own. We used to sing it, Morgan Gibbs-White, he's one of our own. There was tension between his family and the Wolves fans. I went to Leeds away that game, and his dad was having an altercation with Wolves fans because obviously they were criticising Gibbs-White, some Wolves fans. And even though he'd played well, he couldn't really shake that reputation he had, which was created through his girlfriend, who would be in the away end as well. I sat next to her a few times in away ends, so fair play to her, by the way. She didn't seem to care. But yeah, anyway, so because of that relationship breakdown, we got offered by Forest 25 million plus add-ons. Jeff Shee, being Jeff Shee, accepted it straight away. So 25 million up front. The add-ons included so much little different things. One being, if Forest qualify for Europe, they'll have to give us a bit of a compensation, which, as it stands, looks very likely. And as we know, Gibbs-White, he's been fantastic for Forest, one of their best players, really starting to get the attention of the big boys. I've seen Liverpool are taking attention to him, and he's made 2 appearances for the senior England team now, so fair play to him. As much as I dislike the way he's been towards Wolves, we remember the quarter-final of the League Cup, fingers in the ears to the Wolves away end. He does it every time he scores against us now, which he always seems to at the moment when we play Forest, or he's involved in some way with one of the goals, getting an assist. As much as, you know, the relationship has broke down between him and the Wolves fans, which is a shame, it really is. I respect him. He's a great player. Like, he's done what most lads dream of, innit? You know, play for Wolves, as I'd love to, and then go for England. Respect the lad. What a player. Fantastic to watch. So much creativity, setting up players, creating goals, very lively, works very hard as well. and it's just clicked for him at Forest and they adore him, which I get. So, as I say, hats off to him. And going into this game, I'm very worried about him and the likes of Chris Wood, who are in absolute fine form. They're defenders. They've got a very solid defence. Look, Nuno, Wolves fans know too well how good Nuno is as a manager and how he organises teams. You don't score many goals, but you're solid and you get results and get wins. We've scored more goals, Wolves, than Nottingham Forest this season, but they find themselves in third place because they're very protected at the back, which we haven't been. So yeah, there's also, I don't think he starts much. He's on the bench a lot. Willy Bolly, another ex-Wolves player for Forest. He played a lot more last season. But yeah, Nuno, hats off, man. Like, I know we went to have this rivalry with Forest, but with Nuno being there, I can't help just want him to do well because I absolutely love him and what he did for us. And in our last 12 league games against Nottingham Forest, we've only lost once, and we're actually unbeaten in our last 5 Premier League games against Forest. We drew 1-1 earlier on this season, didn't we? With them, with that Bellegarde score and that screamer after going 1-0 down from a Chris Wood header. Chris Wood always scores against Wolves. He has at every club he's been at. He's like a bit of a bogey player for us. And yeah, just going into this game, Wolves obviously unbeaten the last 3, 2 wins and a draw since Vitor Pereira's come in. Forest have won 5 in a row in the Premier League. Unbelievable stuff, to be fair. And I'm very nervous about this game. You've got to say Forest are favourites, especially with us not having Matheus Cunha available because he is banned, serving his first game of his 2-game ban. And we've got knocks to the likes of Toti Gomez, Mario Lemina still out, and there's, we don't know if he's going to be leaving the club. We've had some good news about transfers that could potentially be coming in. And yeah, but our work's going to be cut out in this fixture. So I'm going to give a prediction in my head and I'm going to give a prediction in my heart. My head says that we will lose this game 2-1. Forest flying, as I said, 3rd in the league, 5 wins in a row. Gibbs-White will be really up for it. Nuno want to win at his old club. And Chris Wood always scores against Wolves, so for that reason. With my heart, if I'm being a bit biased, I'll say we can get a 2-2 draw and keep the unbeaten run under Vitor Pereira going. Don't like the fact it's a Monday night game on Sky. I feel like it's hard to get generated atmosphere on Monday nights for obvious reasons. Everyone back at work and things like that. But yeah, so that's my match preview for Wolves v Nottingham Forest. 2 very different seasons for both clubs. One very successful, one terrible, but now starting to turn things around slightly. And Wolves want to be doing what Forest are doing. We did it under Nuno before, and that's our aim in the next few seasons if Fosun can book their ideas up and get us pushing up towards the top end of the Premier League and not the bottom end. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe if you're new. I've really appreciated the support on the channel lately. And comment down below your predictions for Wolves versus Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. Cheers, everyone.